Welcome to the forum. In the process of organizing this, we went around and talked to all sorts of people and said, would you please be involved? And as you will find out through the day, different people have a lot of different perspectives, and people have a lot of different knowledge sets. And so we wanted to get as big a mix for the forum as possible. The one thing you may notice, next slide, is that the role of the county. For reasons of, we have other obligations, we have vacations, it turns out we don't have anybody from the county. Joyce Bischoff had a vacation, which she didn't go on. Hi, Joyce. And she's actually on a group that we will talk about in a minute. So the county is a missing piece. So right now, I'm going to put my county hat on. I'm now a county commissioner or something, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about the county policy. The county commissioners have adopted an economic development strategy, and I'm going to read this because I'm not that familiar with it, but there's nothing worse than reading a PowerPoint. Okay, Garrett County supports responsible extraction and development of energy resources in the county and environmentally sustainable approaches to the recreational development of public lands, farmland, and waterways. The county government supports responsible extraction and sustainable approaches to recreational development. In the pursuant of supporting the extraction, the county commissioners and other staff people have worked in Annapolis on advocacy at the state agency level and have testified in the General Assembly over the last 2 sessions. In early January of this year, the county commissioners from Garrett County and the county commissioners from Allegheny County, where there is some Marcellus Shale drilling that will take place, sent a letter to the governor urging that his commission expedite their review and encourage you to direct the Maryland Department of Environment to authorize process of allowing for safe extraction of natural gas. So that's sort of a let's hurry this process on would be how I would summarize that if I were not. Okay, and then to the next thing, one of the things the county government has done has created the Marcellus Shale Natural Gas Advisory Committee. Now, as a citizen paying for taxes, I don't believe anybody ought to have an acronym that long, and you can't pronounce it. So that would be a little feedback I'd give to the county. Joyce, you taking notes on that? And what I wanted to do basically is brief that of the 21 people that have been appointed, this is sort of the breakdown. Everything from the highest numbers are county staff, bureaus including the Chamber, Farm Bureau, Forest Bureau, to one person from the environment. We have 3 people from the state, 1 from MDE, 2 from the education sector. So I guess we could say of the 21, with only 1 explicitly dedicated to environment, environment has not been the primary focus. It's been more what the county should do with this industry when and if it comes to the county. Next, okay. For those of you who are Deep Creek Lake property owners, we've known for a long time that there is, we actually have county zoning in the Deep Creek Lake watershed. The rest of the county doesn't. It's a current issue of contention. What we have here, next slide, is from that zoning ordinance. Here is John Nelson, who's Director of Planning and Land Development, highlighted these 2 components of zoning that pertain to Marcellus Shale. In the section covering drilling for removal of underground storage of natural gas, here are the minimum setbacks. 2,000 feet from the high water at Deep Creek Lake, and 1,000 feet from the property line of any lot not owned or leased by the entity responsible for gas drilling. Okay, 2,000 feet back from the lake, 1,000 feet from your lot line if you're beyond that zone. Chris? Okay, so the planning department generated this. This is the lake, and the green area is the setback that is protected. So you can see that the lake per se is protected. Okay, what we did, thanks to Chris Hazler, who's a magician with magic, we then took, then what we do, okay, here's this map. Next map has, okay, there are 18 mineral leases in the Deep Creek Lake watershed at this point in time. The black line here is the watershed, and then the pink, which unfortunately doesn't show up that well, shows where the mineral leases are. What Chris then did was integrate those two maps and created the next map, which is the overlay from the 2,000 feet from the county zoning, where the mineral leases are. And then what I have pointed out is you'll notice there are a couple arrows. And basically the section which I would call the overlook, ASCII, Wisp, Deep Creek Highlands, Lodestone. That hill is, obviously Deep Creek oriented property, but is beyond the 2,000 foot protection zone. And there are drilling mineral leases and potential drilling at the top of that. In terms of areas, and the sort of summary of what the zoning says, is there's not going to be any drilling rigs on Deep Creek Lake property. But as you get further back and then up, particularly along that hill, you will, they are properties beyond the setback, the protected zone, and that have mineral leases. The other area where we run risk, if there is drilling and there were to be an accident, hopefully not, we have some tributary areas that are at risk. As you can see, this is Cherry Creek. There's basically 9 mineral leases all the way up. This one starting right at the state park. So Cherry Creek is one area that is an area of concern. And then there's Shingle Camp, which is here, Marsh Run. There's a little mineral lease here, which would be Penn Cove. So that you have land impacts and you have potential stream impacts. Yeah, if you can ask quick questions, informational questions, we're going to have an hour of questions at the end.
Where's ASCII on the map?
ASCII on the map is here. So it is one. Now I'm taking off my county hat. That's so far I've been a county person. Okay, for the very best protection, environmental protection of Deep Creek Lake, there would be an action by state policymakers, legislators, to exempt drilling in the entire Deep Creek Lake watershed. Otherwise, you're vulnerable to these areas. Now we get on to what I want to say is an introduction to the form, taking my hat off. Next. Okay, we all know, it's no secret, Deep Creek Lake is the economic engine of Garrett County. Now other groups claim to be economic engines of Garrett County. This is, I think, a fact. What we can look at 2 major components here. Tax revenue. 56% of the tax revenue for the county comes from Deep Creek Lake. from real estate, property taxes, accommodations, admissions and amusement, recordation, and transfer taxes. That's according to the County Department of Economic Development in the PowerPoint they did for the POA in December 2010. So 56% revenue comes from the lake. 63% of the jobs come from the lake, either directly from the lake or indirectly from the lake, is 63%. So 73% are other, from other sources. This excludes agriculture, mining, from what I gather. This data is from the Chamber of Commerce. So more than 50% revenue, more than 50% of the jobs directly related to Deep Creek Lake. That's why it's the economic engine. In the forum today, what we're going to look at is the county has embraced a new economy which is based on Marcellus Shale extraction. What does that mean? What does it mean to the existing Deep Creek Lake-based economy? What does it mean to the sustainability of the lake as a recreation resource and tourist destination? And, you know, talk about pocket issues. What does it mean to lake property investment?